Well, the CCA CRA has been upgraded and it promises to deliver a lot of bass. But does it? In today's episode of Hobart's Reviews, we're going to go over the specs, the upgrades, we're going to go up close and take a look at them in detail, and I'll listen to some tunes and let you know how they sound. All that and more in today's episode of Hobart's Reviews. Hey friends, welcome back to Hobart's Reviews. My name is Hobart. So KZ sent me these CCA CRA IEMs. They're a one dynamic driver IEM earphone that promises heavy bass dynamics. So they are saying that these are going to be some heavy bass IEMs. So for those of you who are bass heads, you might like these, or somebody who just likes a little bit more bass. Now, over the last few videos, I've kind of found myself comparing the IEMs to like a car stereo system. It makes it easy for everybody to kind of understand. So I'll be doing the same thing today. We're going to start out with like a real nice Bose system, and then are we going to add a subwoofer, and what size of subwoofer are we going to add? And if you've ever been in a car that's got subwoofers, you know that an 8 sounds different than a 10, and a 10 sounds different than a 12, and a 15 sounds different than all of them. So we'll do that comparison here in a few minutes. But you're going to get a couple options with this as far as colors. They both have a polished aluminum faceplate to them, and you're going to be able to get it in black, and you're going to be able to get it in silver. They call it white, but it's silver. So you have two color options, and then of course with the microphone, you can get it with a mic or without a mic. And if you do get it with a mic, you can control your music and your phone calls with the touch of a button. So you do have that option. This is a no mic version. Looking at some of the specs in the back here, you've got a 3.5 millimeter jack. It says we've got the 0.75 millimeter 2-pin connector, which is nice. Frequency response is 20 to 40,000 hertz. Resistance is 25 ohms, and the sensitivity is 99.8 dBs. So let's go ahead and go up close, and we'll take a look at the CCA CRAs in detail. All right, friends, let's take a look at the CCA CRA IEMs up close. This is the new upgraded heavy bass dynamic earphone. So I'm expecting this to have lots of bass. The back is pretty standard, as we all know from KZ and CCA. It does say that the color is black, and this is the no mic version of it. So let's go ahead and open them up, and we'll see what's inside. It's the standard showcase that KZ and CCA give us here. IEMs. Inside here will be our cable, which I'll show you first, and some silicone ear tips that they give us. So the cable that we're going to get with this is going to be a copper colored cable. It may be silver plated still, but it's a copper color. And you're going to get the 90-degree 3.5 millimeter connector for this end. And on the other end, you're going to have your 0.75 millimeter 2-pin connectors or C-pin connectors to go over your ears. And for those of you who've never worn IEMs before, the reason why these are formed is so that they can go over your ears and stay in place. That's how they're installed. So that is what the cable looks like. You also get 3 sets of the silicone ear tips. You're going to get small, medium, and large. I would say go ahead and get yourself a set of the memory foam ear tips, because they just work so much better. Those are the small ones. Medium ones are on the IEMs, and these are the large ones. So they'll fit your ears depending on how big your ears are. But like I said, I would go ahead and get some memory foam ear tips. They just work a lot better, especially if you're going to be doing some long listening. These are great if you're going to be, taking them in and out a lot, because the memory foam ear tips you got to let sit for a second so they can expand in your ears, where these you can just pop in and out. But overall, memory foam ear tips are my favorite. So this is what the CCA CRA looks like. We'll do a quick once-over. Of course, your partial aluminum faceplate here that is polished and is supposedly a black color, but I don't know, in the light it looks kind of a smoky grayish, blackish color. Over here is where your 2-pin connector is going to plug in, over on the side. We'll take off the silicone tip here. We'll do a side profile. You can see your dynamic driver in there. You can see it even better from over here. And the top view. So that is the speaker doing all the work in there. 10 millimeter dynamic driver. And there's also a little, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little hole right there. And that hole is to let a little bit of the air out. Whenever you have an IEM with a dynamic driver, there's always going to be somewhere for the air to escape. Kind of the same idea as a subwoofer in your car. You've got to have air holes in there. Now your stem here is plastic or resin. It's not metal like we've seen in some of the higher end ones, but this is a budget IEM, so no worries on that. It does have an earwax cover, which I'm happy with, to keep all the gunk out. And over on the side, it does say CCA CRA left, or the L, and same thing on the right side. So if you're confused, if you're new to IEMs and you're not sure, this one is for your left ear, and that would be like this in your ear. And it also says here, new generation acoustics. Now, if you've never put these tips on, they're kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, depending on what IEMs you're using. What I normally do is I pinch way over on this end here to kind of open up this hole a little bit, and then I just push the stem in there, and then kind of just give it a little snug push there to kind of get it on all the way. But there you go. That is what it looks like up close, the CCA CRA. So what do you say? Let's go back up top and give them a listen, and I'll let you know what they sound like. Hey everybody, so it is the moment we've been waiting for. How do these things sound? First, before we get to the sound part, let's go ahead and take a look at how they look. These are what they look like in. You can see the profile. They don't stick out too far. They're not too big. They're nice and comfortable, I'll give you that. They definitely are comfortable. I could leave them in for hours and my ears wouldn't hurt. The silicone tips, the medium size, at least for me, are doing a good job at sealing. I still recommend you get some memory foam tips just because they're just that much better and they just do a better job in the long run. But for what you could get these out, you could seal pretty good and get started listening right away. So that is what they look like in. You can see the ear hook going over the ear. So what do you say? Let's go ahead and listen to some music. So since this is supposed to be a bass-heavy IEM, I figured we start off with some hip-hop. So I got White Iverson from Post Malone, and I'll let you know what I think. Wow. All right, well, first thing I'm noticing is there is definitely some bass. Wow, it's deep, it rumbles, it's punchy all at the same time, but I'm also getting really nice detailed highs. That 7,000 to 18,000 range that they're talking about, that they've enhanced for us, I can tell. The details, the highs are just, whew. The cymbals, it's just pronounced, it's clear, it's very detailed, all at the same time while you're getting, that nice subwoofer feeling. So if you haven't seen some of my previous videos, I've been comparing it to like a regular Bose stereo system. So you've been in a Lexus, you've been in SUV or a nice, a European car, BMW, that's got that Bose system in it, and you're like, wow, this sounds good, but it needs a subwoofer. Well, these you would get a subwoofer with. What size of subwoofer? Let me listen a little bit more. All right, so growing up, I actually had two 10s in my trunk when I was much, much younger, and this reminds me a lot of that. So, you get deeper bass as you get to the 10s and the 12s and the 15-inch subwoofers, and I would say that you're getting to about the depth, the deepness of a 10. You might get slightly to a 12, but if you had the picture about what these would sound like, picture yourself sitting inside a car with a nice Bose system and two 10s in the trunk. All right, so what do you say? Let's go to something like Tool. We'll go from one extreme to the other. All right. I love me some Tool. Wow, I get goosebumps just listening to this. It sounds so good. It sounds like I'm like right there at the concert. The drums are punchy. They're there. The bass is there. Ba-boom, pop, ba-boom, ba-boom, pop. Vocals are coming through it all, and it just sounds incredible. I gotta say, for being just a one dynamic driver earphone for $24.95, these have got to be some of my favorite IEMs that I've tried. For my listening experience, for the way that I like to hear music. I like these a lot better than the ZEX Pros that just came out, those balance tuning. They might even sound a little bit better than the regular ZEXs, which have balanced armature drivers in there. I mean, they really, in my opinion, sound like I'm sitting in a nice car with two 10s in the trunk. I got enough kick, enough rumble, enough lowness of the bass, but not having my whole face vibrate off. You know what I mean? It just sounds really good. So let's go to something else. We'll do, how about the Black Crowes? She Talks to Angels. Wide range of music here. Got that acoustic in the beginning. Bum, 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 bum. Vocals are beautiful. You can hear that slight echo. I mean, it's like you're at the concert. Chop, boom. Drums just came in, bass just came in. So those cymbals, the cymbals really, they really poke through. So again, that upper register that they've enhanced You can really tell. Wow. Doom, 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 doom. Good old rock and roll, baby. Oh, just absolutely incredible. That was the Black Crow, She Talks to Angels. And, you know, we've listened to several different types of music during the sound test, and I'd say that the CCA CRAs have passed all of the tests for sure. You've gone from something like Post Malone, White Iverson, where you got lots of heavy bass, you got that treble, you got those hi-hats up there, but you got that rumbling bass. That is hip hop, and just blew me away. They just sound great, like I had mentioned. Then switching over to something like heavy rock, like the Pot from Tool, it still sounded incredible. No, there's not a lot of bass in heavy rock, but you could still hear that kick drum really good. You could still hear the bass player playing the bass really nice, but the guitar and the vocals still poke through, which is great. That's that 7 to 18K range that they've enhanced for us. And then finishing up with the Black Crows, just some good old rock and roll, and it still sounded incredible. And what I'm getting at is no matter what type of music that you like, these right here are going to be something that will work for anybody. If you like that subwoofer in the trunk, not 12s, not 15s, our faces are not being vibrated off. The mirror isn't falling off, people. We're just getting a little bit extra than just that stock Bose system, all right? So overall, I think it's definitely something that a lot of you are going to like, so I'd say go ahead and pick up a set. You can get them for $24.99 on Amazon, so they're not going to break the bank. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description for you. It is an affiliate link that helps out my channel, so I'd appreciate it if you're going to get a set of these to go ahead and use that link. And that's pretty much all the time that I've got for you. If you haven't checked out the rest of my IEM reviews, I do have an IEM playlist for you, so you can go ahead and take a look at that playlist and go through, and maybe if you're looking to upgrade or maybe get your first set of IEMs ever and you're not quite sure what to get, watch a few of those videos and see if any of those tickles your fancies. But I say that this is a really good choice for someone who is looking for a little bit extra bass and is definitely looking for that first set of IEMs and wants to know what they're all about. You can get them for 25 bucks and it isn't going to break the bank. So, well, that's it for me, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Hobart for Hobart's Reviews. Have yourself a great rest of your day. See ya.